So give me a second. Howdy, Big Hawk. Hey, everybody on YouTube as well. I decided to start TikTok early today. Hey, guys. I am John Aravosis here in Washington, D.C. And, well, hopefully we get more people. It's a trade-off. So I decided my new decision here is that we're going to try to keep doing this at the time we've been doing it for the last month, because that's at least consistent and may make sense to people. So I've been sort of juggling the Europeans and the Americans, since you all tend to be most of the audience. In any case, it's a little hard to figure out a time that works for everybody. So this is the time we are doing for now, 6 o'clock Eastern, Monday to Friday. And then on the weekends, hi, Anna and Annette. And then on the weekends, we'll be doing 2 p.m. I know this is my Star Trek shirt. Woo. And then on the weekends, we'll be doing 2 p.m. Eastern. So, hola Barcelona. Kumar, how are you? Hello, Kumar. Menga Aswani. That does not sound so Catalan to me. Catalonian. Could be, though. Hey, Mama, Mama Kendra. And anyway, how's everybody doing? We've got, as you know, we usually go the first 5 minutes here. I am doing well today, Syndicate, and you. We haven't chatted in a few days. I mean to. I'm just kind of getting back in my groove here in DC. Hello, Phoenix. Oh, that's great. Deutschland. In case, I just assume everybody knows, we take the first 5 minutes to let people settle in so we can have TikTok be able to notify people, have YouTube be able to notify people. And while we are waiting, everybody kind of chimes in and says where you are from, which is kind of a fun thing to do. And I always remind people I've got TikTok here on my iPad, and I've got YouTube over there, along with LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter on my laptop. So, hey, Tiffany, you're back. I promise not to hang up on you today like I had to the other day. Marion does join us some days, but during the week can be difficult for her. Born in India, but you've been in Barcelona for 35 years. Wow, okay, that makes you a Catalonian. I'll give you that. But yes, Tiffany. So on the weekends we get Marion. Otherwise, she watches at night. Anyway, folks, thanks for the glasses. I was showing an elderly friend down the block how the TikTok gifs work with the picture somebody had sent me with the hat. There's a hat with a mustache. I think I showed you guys on YouTube how that works on TikTok. It's very funny, but I was showing her today. I'm never going to find this thing. There you go. It'll be for us. Well, that's good. First. Anyway, so we go there. Okay, I keep meaning to get a picture of this. All right, one more time. And then I'm going to get a ticker, and then I can show the TikTok people, or the YouTube people, I mean. Nope. One more hat with mustache. There we go. Okay. Now I can show the YouTubers. So this is what they do to me over on TikTok. Oop, there we go. And the best part is, as you move around your head, it moves with you. So like the hat and the mustache. Actually, all right. Next time. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do one more time, because now we're going to record this and I'm going to show people. I hate to keep doing this to you with this stuff, but we can show them how it actually moves around my head and stuff. And actually, I've got to get that sorting hat back too. Remember, I do like the Harry Potter sword. There we go. There we go. No, that too. I just think it's freaking cool with the hat. Hold on. Okay, now check it out. Once the hat comes on my head, notice what happens once I start moving around. I mean, it's pretty freaky stuff. And then the next one was a thing of like, it's pretty cool stuff, actually. I think it's neat technology. It's goofy, but it's very funny. Yes, this is my Star Trek shirt. Little itchy at first, but I've realized if I wash it a lot, it gets better. So I'm feeling a little better. Anyway, guys, we're going to go a couple more minutes, and then we will start officially. Yeah, TikTok is, oh my God, TikTok is now throttling my lives as well. Evil, evil TikTok. Oh my God. Yeah, but something's going on. Either we've done a very good job getting rid of the Russians, or something's going on TikTok. Because literally it was just the last, since Saturday. After we did our live Eurovision one on Saturday, like the traffic died. Very strange. Thank you for that, guys. So I don't know. Yeah, very weird. I don't know what's going on. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Am I watching the new series, Greg? Oh, Star Trek, of course. And thank you for the Galaxy. I'm going to guess, is it Christy, or who was that? Christy? Yeah, it was Christy. Thanks, Christy. I have not seen the newest one yet. Is the newest one out already? Although we can talk about that. We can talk about that if another minute. Let's wait just to see if anybody else comes from TikTok or YouTube, and then we'll dive in. Exactly. No Star Trek spoilers. Nobody ruins TV shows here. The YouTube quality, I don't know, folks. Is the YouTube quality being iffy? I had my upload speed should be pretty good. We're about to start, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna do a speed test on my upload quality, but I was checking earlier today and it was good. And let me just check again here. Although I don't know if it'll be slowed down because we're doing all of this simultaneously. Oop, that's my down. My download's been kind of weird today, and I don't know why. My download speeds for my internet have been terrible, and they should be amazing. But my upload, well, the upload's showing low, but I don't know if it's because I've got all of this going on at once. So I don't know. YouTube's being fuzzy. Well, that's not very good. That's not very good. Well, at least see, finally TikTok. It's work on TikTok is being better than YouTube today. There's a first. Video not as clear. Yeah, sorry. I just think my internet's being funky today, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if I can change. Sorry, folks, real quick here. Oh, you know what? I can change. I'm lowering the definition to 720p for starters on YouTube. So that will at least help a little bit. But I'm not sure what's going on with my internet. TikTok is stealing my bandwidth a little, but we've always, well, you know what? Now that TikTok, I'm using the new iPad, maybe it's stealing more bandwidth. It's possible. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, very good. Yep, I just, like I said, I lowered the resolution of the YouTube, so that should be a little bit better. Hopefully. All right, guys. So the way this works is I go for about 20 minutes telling you the latest news and why I think it matters, what's going on under the news is, I think. And then afterwards, we do question and answer, and I will answer your questions. And we go usually till around quarter after the next hour. Well, I say that, and we usually go much more. But I promise you at least we'll go till quarter after the next hour with questions and answers. And then we hang out for another 10 or 15 minutes anyway. And it's actually been surprisingly fun just hanging out. I may just do a hangout at some point and just hang out ourselves, but we'll see. In any case, yes, and the sun is behind a cloud today, so I am not getting like sunburn as I talk to you. All right, guys, let's dive right in. So remember on TikTok, or if you haven't been here before, I ask you guys to submit your questions using the Q&A box at the bottom of the TikTok screen. That way, hello, Canada. That way, it puts all your questions together in a row and makes it very easy for me to look at them later when we do the Q&A, because you TikTokers are the most prolific questioners on the planet. So I literally get easily 75 to 100 questions from you guys alone. Greece. Oh, Elada, tikanete, Effie. I had an Aunt Effie. Maybe I still do have an Aunt Effie. I don't know. But yes, so lots of questions for you TikTokers. Use the Q&A box on the bottom on YouTube, etc. Use your comment box. And I always appreciate the gifts you guys give me on TikTok. I will try to do a shout out whenever I see you throwing the goofy stuff up there. Usually I do, but sometimes I'm in the middle of reading. I miss it. And on YouTube, my thanks to you guys is, as always, if you do a super chat question, I will put that as the next question I get to. Even if we are in this part of the show, which is the news, I will still get to your question next. And again, I've been doing this full time since the war started, want to keep doing it full time. So if you guys could support me with both of those, I appreciate it because it keeps me going. All right. So what I've been doing lately at the suggestion of I don't know who, but somebody had a great suggestion, which was to recap the stories, to basically give you a summary of the stories I'm going to talk about today. And then at the end, I go over them again, boom, 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 bullet point. Since, people are always coming and going, not a bad idea. So just to recap, I am John Aravosis. I am here in Washington, D.C. I do a lot of foreign policy work, also a lot of U.S. domestic policy. And I am going to update you on what's been going on in Ukraine. So we've got Azovstal, big story today, the evacuation from the steel plant that was being bombed by the Russians forever. Lots of updates on that. In terms of the war overall, the Russians are shelling in the east. I'm going to tell you how that's going. The Russians are digging in, which is something I talked about yesterday. They are digging in along a huge trench line, basically trying to solidify the gains they've already made. Thank you, baby, for that. Turkey once again being a pain in the butt with regards to Finland and Sweden with NATO. Janet Yellen, who's the U.S. Treasury Secretary, said that it would not be legal to seize Russian assets and use them for Ukraine, at least under U.S. law. I did more research on that, so I'm going to explain that issue to you guys. 21-year-old Russian soldier pled guilty to war crimes. Gerhard Schroeder, this is interesting, some news about the former German chancellor who is buddy-buddy with Putin. He's increasingly in trouble. The Ukrainians are really nice people when it comes to pets, and I've got a video I'm going to show you, assuming I can get it on my phone. And then we're going to talk just briefly about Madison Cawthorn, who is this American politician who lost his bid for re-election, just because occasionally I want to start slipping a little bit of other news in, only because eventually, when the war is over and Ukraine occupies all of Russia, kidding, I want to also be able to bring in other news. So there you go. Oh, yes, and I'm seeing sunflowers. And remember what we always do. If the Russian trolls come in, we shower them with sunflowers, remember? And it also is nice for the first appearance of any of our Ukrainian friends. We also like to shower them with sunflowers, but for different reasons than we shower the Russians. So there you go. All right, let me dive right in. So Azovstal, the steel plant. The latest news is that everybody except the leaders have been evacuated is the latest story. They are saying that about 1,000 troops have now been evacuated. They're under Russian control. You know, they've been arrested or whatever by the Russians. The Russians supposedly are giving them medical attention. We'll see. The Red Cross is supposed to have access. We'll see, you know, under international law. And the Russians are still talking about, you know, going after these guys for war crimes, accusing them of being, you know, Yahtzees. Remember, that's the word we use instead of the N-word, Yahtzees, so that TikTok and YouTube don't get mad at us. The Russian Supreme Court said it's going to hold a hearing next week on whether to declare the Azov battalion, which is the battalion that this group was with, whether they're going to declare them a terrorist organization. You'll recall that Russia claimed going into Ukraine, that they were going in to stop the Yahtzees, remember, the NZs, and Azov is literally the group that they were accusing of being the NZs, right? So it is very hard for me to believe that the Russians are going to turn around and let these guys go in exchange for prisoner exchange if these are the very people they were claiming was the whole reason they went to war to start with, right? They said they were going to war to catch the NZs or the Nazis. Yeah, I didn't say it. Sorry. You guys have to like dock me $50 or something every time. Like I make a donation to you every time I say one of those words that gets me in trouble with the algorithms. But I've been saying for a couple of days now, I don't see how the Russians can do a prisoner exchange with these guys, because these guys are, from the Russian perspective, they're not. The NZs, they're the bad people for the reason they invaded. So let's see what happens. Interesting what's going on in the East. So in the rest of the East, which the Russians are now trying to occupy, well, I mean, they occupy some of it, but they want to annex eastern Ukraine for Russia, right? Well, what's going on, I was watching General Hertling, former American general, former commander of the U.S. Army in Europe, today on CNN, and he's very good. I love watching this guy. Very no BS. Well, he's a general. You know what you'd expect from a general. And Hertling was saying, oops, I'm adjusting my little thing here. Thank you for that. Hertling was saying that there is a lot of artillery bombardment happening in the East now, that the Russians are just, you know, going after the front lines with the Ukrainians willy-nilly, but they're doing it kind of haphazardly. He said it's typically what you would do in a good military. He said you would, you know, bomb with artillery. Then you'd follow up with air cover. You know, you'd follow up with like airplanes coming in and bombing, and then you'd follow up with troops. And he said all the Russians are doing is just throwing artillery out there, kind of just wherever they can. And it's not helping. Oh, hello from Ukraine. Sherwood Wood. Nice to see. There you go. We have a thing on TikTok, Sherwood. When anybody hails from Ukraine, we send lots of sunflowers their way. And we do the same thing when there's Russian trolls on here, but we throw them sunflowers for different reasons, if you know what I mean. Seeds in their pockets and all. But But it was very interesting what he's saying, and it goes to the issue of the fact that the Russians aren't advancing in the east because they're just doing bad. There's no strategy to what they're doing. Now, one thing they are doing, which is going to be problematic, and this is something I've been saying the last few days, that I finally read more about it today, is the Russians are digging in the south. And I do see your question, Sky Queen. Let me, yeah, that's actually on my list. Let me, I can talk about that next. The Russians are digging in, and basically you've got the east. Okay. I mean, I know I've got to get my map of Ukraine finally at some point for you guys so we can do this, but you've got Kharkiv, which is like northeast. And that's the area where the Russians have been beat pretty hard and they've been pushed back. Then you go further south and you get, Luhansk, this town, and then you kind of go, along like this until you get all the way to Kherson, which is sort of south. Luhansk is like east. And this whole crescent from there, the Russians occupy, and they want to annex all of it, really. Well, what they're doing now is they're digging in. I mean, they're literally physically digging in. They are destroying roads and bridges, for example. In other words, destroying roads and bridges between where they're occupying and the rest of Ukrainian territory, so it's harder for the Ukrainians to invade. They're putting up concrete barriers. They're digging trenches in the whole area. They're making it, thank you, Lady Carol, maybe for that. They're doing everything they can to make it very difficult for the Ukrainians to invade. And as I've said before, which is kind of scary, they're setting it up so that they will be the defenders and the Ukrainians will be the ones having to attack. And if they have to attack, then they need a lot more men than the Russians have. Like everything that disadvantaged the Russians then gets put the opposite way, because now the Ukrainians are the ones attacking and the Russians are the ones digging in. So the analysts I've been reading have been saying, that part of the war, Ukraine trying to get this land back, is going to be a harder thing to do as time goes on. The other area, just interesting, because you guys have asked about this occasionally, about the nuclear plants. Remember, we've got, thank you, Lola, we've got Chernobyl in the north, which the Russians occupied, but then the Ukrainians were able to get control of again. And you've got Zaporizhia, the plant, thank you, the inspired woman, there you go. You've got Zaporizhia, which was the plant in the south that the Russians are still holding. Well, they have been also putting up concrete barriers and trenches around the Zaporizhia plant as well. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to defend a nuclear plant, but whatever. I don't know. I don't get that. Anyway. Okay, whatever. All right, guys, whatever. Stop arguing. You're arguing again. You guys confuse me on YouTube when you start arguing with each other. Don't do it. You throw me for a loop. So anyway, that's it. So I'm worried. Thank you for that, Blackman. I'm just worried about the Russians digging in, and it's going to be much harder for the Ukrainians to be able to get in there afterwards. Turkey was behaving badly again today. The NATO tried to bring up Finland and Sweden's application on sort of a fast track, and the Turks stepped in and said, no. So thank you, Harvey. Harvey, I didn't know you were over here too, Harvey. That's funny. Actually, I need to, you know what? Let me see if I can touch this and do this. One moment. All right. Since I now have my iPad, I can actually add some of you regulars. Quick little break, but I can add some of you regulars as moderators on TikTok. It doesn't mean you have to moderate, but if you want to, you may. But I'm going to do it so far only going to do it with names I recognize, because a number of you, I know even from giving the gifts and stuff, like, well, there's Ashley. Ashley, I know you. So I'm going to add you. Thank you. And a couple of the rest of the folks, as this goes on, if I see your names and get there in time, I can add you as moderators, because it's always nice to have sort of extra moderators. Yeah, we're just trying not to use the F word because we're a little nervous. We've been a little nervous. I mean, me using it, but also in the comments from us over at YouTube or here about how TikTok and how YouTube figure things out and what they share and what they don't. So anyway, we've just tried to be careful about it for that reason. All right, Amanda, I'm grabbing you too, but I don't want to spend too much. I'll sort of try to keep my eye open for you guys, because I don't want to do too much. I want to get back to the news, so I'm not going to lose everybody. So, boom. Hungary behaving badly. Yes. So Hungary stopped them from advancing sort of quickly and doing a fast track. Again, people I talk to still think Hungary is going to come along in the end, but Hungary wants to be bribed. They want to be paid off. So, we'll see what happens. This was an interesting topic. So the issue came up before, and you guys had asked, and I did a little research today on, can we basically take Russia's, oh, wait, 1 second. I'm sorry. I forgot that, as I said, I was going to answer, and I forgot you guys had asked questions here. Sky Queen, and then I will jump to asset seizure after I get to Sky Queen and Cassie. Is it true they already have a Russian soldier going on trial for war crimes soon? Yes, he was going to be my next topic, but I don't have a lot to say about it. He already pled guilty, which is interesting. He was riding in a car with several other soldiers, a car they stole. They saw a Ukrainian man down the, this is a Russian soldiers. They saw a Ukrainian man riding down the street on his bicycle. And one of the soldiers told him, hey, shoot that guy, ha, ha, ha. And he shot the guy in the head and killed him. Now, how they got this story, thank you for that, J-Roll. I'm starting to wonder now whether he just confessed, because I was thinking I had heard something about one of the other soldiers maybe testifying as well, which I wasn't totally sure, or whether he just broke and told the story himself, but he pled guilty. Now, granted, you can play guilty because somebody beat the bejesus out of you, and in all fairness, we've got to take that into account. This is war. You never know what might have happened. But yes, he is on trial. I believe the trial may have been not postponed, but once he pled guilty, they put it off until tomorrow, I believe. But that's where that stands. Yeah, he pled guilty. So very interesting. And Cassie X, do you think Russia will just imprison the men from the steel plant and call that their victory, since it's technically the Azov? I am worried that yes, at the very least, Russia is going to imprison the men from the steel plant. Russia being Russia, they'll let some of them go. They'll keep some of them that they say are criminals and committed crimes or are NZs. The leaders of the military, the Ukrainian military that was in the plant, the defenders, the leaders are reportedly still in the plant. And I'm not sure why they're still in the plant, but I think it's probably because they got intelligence saying the Russians are going to kill you. I'm worried the Russians are going to kill these guys. They're going to put them up and say it's wartime and we're going to execute you. I mean, it's bad enough they throw them in jail, which is ridiculous. But, knowing the Russians, Brittney Griner, I've got her name correctly, if they can just arrest a basketball player on trumped up charges, imagine what they would do to these guys. So yeah, they're going to, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I don't even know if they're going to use it in a bargain or whether they're just going to try to hang on to these guys, but I think it's bad. So that would be, that was our next story. We can cross that one off. So Yellen seizing assets. So I did some research on this, and the question was, why can't the U.S. or Europe, for that matter, seize the assets of these oligarchs, seize the Russian assets, sell them off, and give the money to Ukraine, for example, okay? Well, here's the deal. And I can only speak under American law. Under American law, you've got two problems. One is, and actually, it was good because I found the article I was looking for when I was telling you guys the other day, there's like two key words in this. One word is freezing assets, and one word is seizing assets. Freezing assets simply means we stop you from being able to do anything with it, but you still own it, oligarch. Or you still own it, Russian government, but we've frozen the asset. You can't sell it. You can't trade it. You can't do anything with it, okay? Thank you, NATO bot, for that. With seizing assets is when you actually take possession of them. And the government takes possession and you no longer own them. In the United States, and there's a little bit of a difference of opinion among lawyers on this, so, who knows? I was reading somebody a little more conservative, and when I say conservative, I mean not conservative liberal, but conservative as in having a more narrow view on this, taking a little more of a careful approach. And he felt that under U.S. law, you cannot appropriate Russian funds unless Russia has attacked us and gone to war with us. So Russia would have to attack the United States for the United States to seize Russia's funds. In other words, take the funds and say, you don't own this money anymore, now it's ours. But if we're not at war with Russia, or at the very least, Russia has not attacked us militarily or attacked us in some other way, we don't have much of a legal argument under U.S. law. The second problem is that without a war, Russia would have stronger due process rights. Due process is, I should know which amendment of the Constitution. Could it be 14th? I should know this. But it basically means that everybody in America has the right to go to court and argue their case, in essence. So that if we are not at war with Russia, Russia arguably would be able to go to court and argue and say, you can't take my assets. You know, you can't just say you own them now. I get to argue that I still own them. So both of those reasons, because we're not at war with Russia and they haven't attacked us, 14th Amendment, I thought so. Thank you, Alyssa. It makes it much harder for us to actually do anything. In Europe, it's easier. And I'm not an expert in European law, but what I was reading said, you know, you may have more options in Europe to do it. So there you go. Speaking of Europe, so Gerhard Schroeder, this was kind of good news. Little bit of bitchiness from the Germans in a good way. I'm looking here and seeing, my great, the sun's gonna shine through on me again. We'll see. If it is, I may have to. I may shut my curtains if it becomes a problem. We'll see. But the Germans stripped Gerhard Schroeder, who is the former chancellor. Was it back in the 2000s or so? But a former German chancellor, now a lobbyist, best friends with Putin, and has refused to criticize Putin over the war. And the Germans kind of had enough of him and said, this is embarrassing as hell. So they've stripped him of his $400,000 a year office. Every German chancellor, former, once they're out of office, they get, not dollars, 400,000 euros a year to set up an office, to do, official business, things like that. So he's at least lost that. He still is getting, a €7,000 a month stipend from the government, and that he's still getting. All right, I'm going to shut my curtains here one moment because the sun is finally peeking out and it gets a little more uncomfortable. One moment. Oops. All right. One moment. I hate my curtains. Oh, I hate my curtains. There we go. All right, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, that's pretty good. Makes it a little easier for me too, because then the sun isn't like totally. Oh God! All right, one more. Oh wait, is that? I always go like just a touch too short. A touch too short. There we go. Okay. All right, now I'm happy. Thank you for dealing with our live television, except it's not television. All right, let me see here. So anyway, yeah, so good for the Germans going after him. Nathan, what is Croatia's problem with Swinland? Exactly, Sweden and Finland. I didn't see that Croatia was complaining. Is Croatia complaining? I did not see that. I have no idea. Harvey, you're here. You're usually a font of every late breaking news story. Any idea on what's going on with Croatia? I didn't see that Croatia was raising hell with Sweden and Finland. Perhaps you can enlighten us. I don't know, Nathan. That I had not seen that. Actually, I've only got two remaining little stories here. So one was actually kind of a neat little thing here. Serbia. I mean, I'm assuming there's some, or is it Serbia? Serbia, I could see. Thank you, Luigi. Serbia, I could see. Is it Serbia or is it Croatia? Swinland, I know. But what are they tweeting? They're tweeting that it's Croatia or Serbia. That's causing some. Harvey defected. I know Harvey was over at TikTok, but I got to make him a TikTok moderator, so it was very exciting. But but I don't know what I think because Harvey wanted to put goofy stuff on my head is my guess, but we'll see. Swinland. I know. It sounds like Croatia. I have no idea why Croatia would do that. That's very strange. Very strange. Like I said, Serbia I could see because Serbia would be doing the bidding of, but Serbia isn't in NATO anyway. Yeah, but they would want to do Russia's bidding. But Croatia, I have no idea. Weird. Okay, no idea. I will have to see. I've not even seen the story. So the two little feel-good stories is one is that not feel-good. One is a feel-good, and one I'll just touch on the Madison Cawthorn thing because it's interesting news and it's got a Trump angle, which I think is at least somewhat interesting to folks from around the world. I don't want to bore you with our domestic stories, but the Trump angle is interesting. So this is real quick. And of course, as I said, it's not as easy of doing this. Oops, where is this? Here we go. So this was really cute. The Ukrainian territorial defense, which I've never totally understood what the territorial defense forces are in Ukraine, other than they're citizens. What is it? They're citizens. They're quasi-military, but not really. And they're not trained as rigorously as the military. But anyway, they have been entering cities that were in neighborhoods of cities that were heavily bombed, where people had to leave, where the people just got up and left because the bombing was too bad, and they had to leave their pets behind. And they've been going back every day and feeding the pets, cats in particular. And this is you can see the little. Oh, my dog is hearing it. Sasha, no. It's okay, Sasha. Isn't that cute? I just thought that was cute. It's okay. All right. Okay. That was like a little too good of sound on that one. But I thought that was really cute anyway that they're doing that. Now on the Madison Cawthorn thing, but it's interesting. Kind of a weird story. But it actually, I mean, my video got like 500,000 views today. It clearly got people going. But Madison Cawthorn is a Republican member of the U.S. Congress. He's a member of the U.S. House, which is, the lower body, but not really. I mean, they're equal, in our country. And he is a very staunch defender of Donald Trump. And I would say, now you want to go on the balcony. All right, go look for the cat, huh? He is probably one of the 4 or 5 maybe top defenders of Trump in the House. And he had his primary yesterday because we have a primary election where, Republicans run against Republicans, Democrats run against Democrats, and the winners of those elections then go against each other in November. And he lost his primary. And what was interesting is that he had a whole series of scandals. I mean, he's had a lot of stuff. He's 25 years old and sometimes acts like it, but his own party turned against him. And in the last couple of weeks, they released video that he came out and said he thinks his party did it to him. And I think he's right, that basically they released video suggesting he was gay, among other things. And it was sort of the last straw for him. And of course, he's from North Carolina, where being gay wouldn't exactly be an asset. But it was just a very interesting story because he's a super duper Trump candidate, but who lost because the Republican Party turned against him, even though he was a Trump candidate. And to me, that's interesting because you don't see the Republican Party really doing anything really that would be disagreeing with Donald Trump. So anyway, it's a very American story, but it was kind of a big news story here. I did see somebody threw in Mandy. What happens if a country in NATO is attacked and a country in NATO doesn't respond or help? What are the consequences? They can be kicked out. Yeah, I know. Do it to Elise Stefanik. They could get kicked out. I think that would be it. You know what I mean? I mean, there's no way. There's nothing. I don't think you can fine them or anything. But I think if countries were to say, you know what, we're not going to help, then there would be a debate as to whether they'd be kicked out of NATO or not. And maybe they would be, because if they're not going to help, what's the point in being in NATO? Then all it is we're putting ourselves on the line for them. And from what I was reading, which makes sense, they are not a party to the vote. If you vote to kick somebody out, the country themselves do not get to vote, obviously. My suspicion is it would have to be unanimous, I would think, since things happen unanimously in NATO. But I don't know. I wonder if kicking people out has to be unanimous as well. That'd be interesting to see. All right, let me pull that. All right, so oh, that's right. I've got my little thing running here so I can see if I missed anything. I don't think so. Sky Queen, Cassie, Nathan, and Mandy. Okay, excellent. All right, guys. I am ready to start with questions, so I will jump right in on the TikTok folks with your Q&A, and then we can kind of just go back and forth and all of that. Who started the fires in Russia? Who knows? I mean, to some degree, Aldo, on TikTok, you're going to have fires, right? And I think Ukraine has done a very good job of making it seem like everything is Ukraine, right? And intentionally, they've not answered the question. Whenever it's like, did you attack that city? Did you attack that city? They're intentionally going, oh, I don't know, bad karma, because they want it to seem like they're everywhere and to scare the hell out of the Russians, so that the Russians start assuming that every bad thing that happens is the Ukrainians, right? Fires in Siberia, the Ukrainians. It just creates this kind of fear. Thank you, JR. It creates this fear amongst the Russian population and the military as well. So, hard to say. It could be potentially some of the Ukrainians themselves muckraking. It could be some Russians that are supportive doing it, and it could just be natural causes. I mean, there's no way to know, but it's possible. I mean, if the Ukrainians want to cause some hell, they certainly could. Yeah, that's the. I don't know, Dawn. It's funny. I had tried. So Dawn Hart asks on YouTube, why do you think the Russian television is allowing Mikhail Khodarenko? I was going to say Renko. If you're writing it correctly, then it's Khodarenok. Khodarenok, or was it Khodarenko? The former air defense commander, to continue to speak negatively about the war. He's this colonel who I mentioned to you guys the other day, has been on multiple times on Russia One, big state TV. And what are you doing? She's trying to get, she's got a massive bone, but you got to remember, my dog is only 10 pounds, and she was trying to drag the massive bone out. So I was like, hearing this noise, like, you're 10 pounds. How much trouble can you get into? But I've actually got the clip, but I don't know that you can see you know what I can do? I can play the clip and just read you the subtitles. Let me do that. It's not the entire clip. The entire clip is 4 minutes long, but there's a shortened version that The Guardian did that is still, not The Guardian, The Independent just did Independent, whatever they're called, did a shorter version. Hang on. That I posted on TikTok, and I will read. Okay, seriously? All right, 1 second. I made the cardinal sin again of not giving my dog water before the show started, and I'm going to find the video as I'm talking to you here. Where's the video? 1 second. It's very interesting video, because basically this guy criticizes the Russian war effort. He talks about how powerful the Ukrainians are. He talks about the Ukrainians getting more men, how it's going to be a big problem for the Russians. Really, the kind of things you don't say. And as I'm reading this to you, once I pull up the video, keep in mind, the Russians know who this guy is. I mean, he's a well-known colonel. They know his positions. Why would they let him on TV at all, knowing his positions? That's the really weird thing. Sorry, let me look really quick here. Hopefully I didn't delete it. If I did, I can look in my beep, 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 beep. I did just delete it. Hang on a second. This is what happened. I was going to say, I knew I just had it. I was trying to clean up my box here. Here he is. Okay, so first of all, I must say that we shouldn't take information tranquilizers, because sometimes information is spread about some moral and psychological breakdown in the Ukrainian armed forces, which are allegedly on the verge of some kind of crisis in morale and so on. All of that, to put it mildly, is false. And it cuts ahead. And considering that there is the European aid will fully come So 1 million armed Ukrainian soldiers need to be viewed as a reality. Oh, he's saying European aid is coming, so we've got to take it as a reality that pretty soon there's going to be 1 million Ukrainian soldiers that are armed in the very near future. We all need to take that into account in terms of our operational and strategic calculations, that the situation in this regard for us will frankly get worse. So he says the situation is going to get even worse for us in Ukraine. By the way, in our country, that dogma has become very firmly entrenched in the minds of some of our political scientists that if a man is a contracted soldier, he's a professional. And, contracted meaning these the guys they get every year to do their military service, basically for a year. Far from it, he says. Hang on. But a desire to protect one's homeland in the sense that it exists in Ukraine, it really does exist there. They intend to fight until the last man. And he goes on, don't saber rattle. Again, let's look at the situation as a whole from the overall strategic position. By the way, don't saber rattle. He's talking about the Russians who keep talking about nuclear war and this kind of crap. Let's look overall at the overall strategic position. Don't engage in saber rattling with missiles in Finland's direction. It actually looks quite amusing. So he's even saying it's pretty much just funny that we're even, threatening Finland. After all, the main deficiency of our military political position is that in a way we are in full geopolitical isolation. And that, however much we would hate to admit it, virtually the entire world is against us. And it's that situation that we need to get out of. Again, it's kind of that Russian English that, gets a little discombobulated, but I mean, crazy stuff and just bizarre that they would let this guy speak. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I put it in the realm of Putin's speech on the May 9th, festivities as well. Yes, I am a Picard fan. I put it with Putin's May 9th speech where it wasn't nearly as aggressive as we thought it would be. So I don't know what's going on that they're letting this guy speak publicly, but that's going to piss off a lot of Russians. I mean, piss them off as in they're going to hear it and go, maybe it's true. Let me pull this from Franny. What is your opinion on Russia downplaying the damn flags? I'm going to go with Sweden and Norway. Okay, Sweden and Finland joining NATO now. Yeah, what happened was Putin and his people are saying, "Oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal that Norway, getting them all mixed up, that Finland and Sweden are now applying to NATO. It doesn't change things. It changes everything." Do you think he's going to do a surprise attack like the calm before the storm? He's clearly lying. He could try to do a surprise attack. The only problem is the UK already promised to go to war over it if they get attacked, if those two countries get attacked before they're members of NATO. Iceland, Denmark, and Norway have promised to go to war. If Sweden, I'm going to keep getting those. I'm going to need to write down Sweden and Finland in front of me so I don't keep mixing the names. Sweden, I actually said, that if those two countries get attacked, you're going to have a lot of countries that have already promised to go to war over them. And I kept hearing that the U.S. made some promises, but I haven't seen what those promises are. So Putin's time to attack, he lost that opportunity already, I think. But I agree with you. It's very strange. Very strange. And I mean, they're letting people on TV that are saying the Russians are doing badly and things are going to get worse. I mean, maybe this is Putin's way, having said all that, maybe this is Putin's way of starting to ease the Russians in to this concept of, the war. This is a tough war. It's going to take a long time. We're fighting against some really professional armies so that at least people are starting to accept that basically people won't be shocked in a month or two when they start seeing more and more dead and they go, wait, what? Lowered expectations. There you go. Evil just suggested it on TikTok. They're lowering expectations to make it a little bit easier. And thank you. Was that Darian? Damien? Darian. Thank you for that. Kevin Cunningham, do you think that the Russians will leave Ukraine? Wait, do you think that the Russians will leave Ukraine? Is the declare the prisoner as Nazis since that was the reason they went into Ukraine? Sasha, hey, no. The neighbors are in the hallway with their dogs again. Do I think that, sorry, Kevin, there's a verb or something missing here, but do you think that the Russians will leave Ukraine? Is it declare the prisoners? Hey, what are you doing? So that was the reason they went into Ukraine. I'm not sure what your first part means, but I think it is going to be very difficult for the Russians to let the prisoners go. The Azovstal steel plant. Hey, come on, Sash. That it's going to be hard for them to let them go because these are the very people they were accusing of being Yahtzees, Enzis, as I call them, so that if you went into Ukraine because you were going to cleanse them of the Enzis, how do you then just trade them back and send them back to Ukraine for your own POWs? How do you do that? And even worse, you're making, hey, that's enough, Sasha. Even worse, you're making an equivalence between your own soldiers and the Enzis, right? Like 1,000 Enzis for 1,000 Russian soldiers? Does that mean, right? I mean, that kind of equivalence. Anyway, I think it's going to be next to impossible for the Russians to let these guys go. I just don't think they're going to. So there you go. Harvey. And now Harvey Kittle has moved. Harvey has moved seamlessly from TikTok to YouTube, as only Harvey can. Turns out the Russians have been selling homes in Britain because the Brits announced it will be removing the visas of the children of oligarchs associated with Putin. Oh, interesting. Preventing them from going to prestigious English boarding schools like Eton, Harrow, etc. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Wow. Oh, that's good. So in other words, the Russians have been selling homes in the UK because the UK announced it will be removing the visas of children of oligarchs associated with Putin. Wow, that's good. And the oligarchs are the rich business people, billionaires, but who are corrupt as hell and got their money through Putin and everything else. Wow. Oh, that's great news. I'm kind of impressed that they're going after the kids. That's interesting, that they've kind of taken it to that level now. Wow. Great. Good for the UK, but that's, but this is what has to happen. People need to, their families have got to suffer, and not suffer in you don't take the kids hostage, but the family's suffering in a way where the kids don't get to come to the West and go to their little prestigious schools and stuff, I mean, and honestly, you can't anyway. How could you have some, basically the equivalent of war criminals' kids going to these schools? It's gross. And I was not aware that you were having a card problem abroad, but I'm glad it was fixed. I saw somebody mentioning that yesterday, Harvey, and I didn't know what they were talking about. So where are you gracing us from? Are you in Amsterdam, or what are you doing? So anyway, President of China has a brain aneurysm. I haven't heard that. It would have been on the news. I would have thought it would have been on the news. What else here? What Russia's done. All right, let me pull up another question on TikTok from you guys. Hang on. I like to use my glasses for the TikTok questions. Thank you, 1 hour early. No question. You're welcome. Thoughts on the military expert in Russia telling the truth? Yep, that was the one we just talked about. So I'm glad a lot of you are into that story. Brittney, there's nothing new. Brittney Griner is being used as a hostage, pure and simple. They're using her. They're going to milk it for everything they can. I don't know what Belgian waffles. Don't even get me started on Belgian waffles. Oh my God. They're going to milk it for all they can. She's a hostage, and I don't know what they're going to do about it, but I think they're going to hold her to the end. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's bad. It's bad what they're going to, meaning bad in the sense of it's going to be very hard to get her released because they're going to be bad. As for Belgian waffles, oh my God, nobody had told me about Belgian waffles. Thank you, Booty, for the origami. I was in my quick aside story, was visiting a friend in Brussels who was working for NATO, and went with his family on a day trip to Ghent, and which is in where the hell is Ghent? Ghent is in Belgium, or is Ghent in? No, but Ghent's in Belgium, right? It's not Holland. It's in Belgium, right? And one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to, by the way. And they had the musical festival going on and everything else. And they I went and my friends went to hear some music, and I wasn't really into going to listen to music. So I just walked around the little festival and got a Belgian waffle with chocolate and, schlag on top. And oh my God, it was, thank you, Lola. It was like eating, for an American, for us to think, imagine getting a huge, gooey, just out of the oven chocolate chip cookie, but that is like this big. Oh my God. It was the most delicious thing I'd ever eaten. I mean, this is literally at my age, I'm going, nobody told me about Belgian waffles. Like, as an American, you think Belgian waffles are like a waffle with chocolate and ice cream on it or something. Oh no, this was, oh my God. This was amazing. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I was very excited about that. Oh my God. I've got to go back to Belgium. And the people in Ghent love me because I was so enthralled with the city. I did a pictorial. I took lots of photos, and then I wrote on my blog about it. And somebody over there saw it, and which I didn't mind. They used my pictures in the local paper and translated what I wrote. And then somebody discovered my Facebook page, and I had hundreds and hundreds of comments from people from Ghent thanking me for loving their city. It was the most adorable thing you'd ever seen in your life. I want to go back to that town. Anyway, nice people. Ghent. That's my Ghent story. Who knew I had a Ghent story? CB, Casey, you're saying, is anybody beginning to speak about the widespread environmental damage throughout Ukraine besides the area around Chernobyl? Environmental damage from just the war overall, you mean? I'm assuming. What I have seen is that there was there's been lots of reporting now about cholera and health stuff going because of the fact that these, you could have 100,000 people still in Mariupol of the original 450,000 people with no water, with no electricity, with no sewage, with all of that, and that they're really getting worried about health problems. I'm not familiar with environmental other than the obvious, I guess, which is if everything's blown up, actually, that's not true. I saw some story today about real concerns about the sea and everything around Azovstal and what's going into the water there. I did see that, but I think those stories are just beginning. I think so. I know I want chocolate too. They have a Costco in DC. Of course, they've got a couple Costcos in DC. Well, there's one in DC and then one in Northern Virginia. Oh yeah. Love my Costco. I wonder this. Louisa asks why the Russian soldier pleaded guilty. Look, you've always got to consider the possibility in wartime that a confession is forced. Okay. I like the Ukrainians. I'm on their side, but it's always a possibility. It's also possible that this kid is 19 years old, freaked out, got caught, and basically, I don't want to say I feel sorry for him because he murdered somebody, but I wonder if we're dealing with a 19-year-old who was joyriding with his friends and they're all showing off and killing people. And now it's all come home to roost. And he's still this 19-year-old going, oh my God, what the hell did I do? He's 21. I thought he was 19. Still, these guys are kids. But it is possible that he literally just had a breakdown and went, I can't believe I did this. Yes, I did it. I'm sorry. I don't, and that he's a mess. He's still going to have to pay a penalty because he killed. Absolutely, the penalty could be less if he confesses. Yes, actually, in general, courts, I can speak for America, but I would say a court anywhere, you absolutely take into account if somebody confesses. There's two things. One, them confessing. The only problem is, let's put it this way. You could confess and go, yeah, I killed the SOB and I'm glad I did it. That's a confession. That is not going to get the judge to give you any less time in jail. If you confess and you literally say, yes, I did it. I am so sorry. I don't know what was going on. I know it was wrong. I was feeling pressure, but I know it was wrong. I will take whatever punishment you give me. That, if the judge legitimately believes that you are remorseful, the judge can take that into account. And I would argue the judge should take that into account if you are genuinely remorseful, because a lot of these guys aren't genuinely remorseful, But who knows what that means in terms of what it actually translates into. But yeah, but it can help. And this is the end of the Borg. And with my Star Trek shirt, the Borg, I think it's a Borg appendage. So, what else we got here? I mean, there's a lot of questions I'm trying to see on the TikTok side. Courtroom overrun with media. Well, this is Russia too. Oh, I'm sorry. In Ukraine, you mean? Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, that's I see. So Raymond, you and Nathan are saying the same thing. They delayed it because they wanted a bigger courtroom, and they wanted to hear evidence. Supposedly, there was something. I think correct me if I'm wrong. Is there not somebody else who's talking about testifying? I thought I'd heard that. I thought that's what I'd heard today. So if so, that would be very interesting. Yeah, I would imagine he's facing a life sentence because you're not only talking about murder, you're talking about a war crime. That's a whole other world of crime there. It's bad enough to kill somebody on a bike. It's worse to do it as a war crime because you literally targeted this person because he was a civilian of the other country. It's almost like a hate crime, although you may not have those in Europe. But yeah, he's in trouble. As we said, he may be able to get something a little lighter by being remorseful and everything else, maybe, but it's pretty bad. I mean, I don't know how you explain why you wanted to shoot a 62 or 64-year-old man I wrote this down. How old was the poor man? 62-year-old man. Oh yeah, I do have 21 written in my notes. Sorry, but 62-year-old man in the head. I assumed only America has hate crimes. I wasn't sure. No, because it's something particular to our law, but maybe other countries have it. I don't think you do. Do you have hate crime laws in Europe? Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, you got hate speech laws. I knew you had that, which we do not have. You cannot have hate speech laws in this country. But Canada, for example, has something on that order. But I did not know about hate crimes laws. Just scrolling here. Now, we're going to see if the Mariupol soldiers are coming home. As I said, I still think the Russians are going to be very bad about that. The morale in Russia, the thing is, I don't think Russians are getting the full story. They're getting some story. As we said earlier, they've got some of these guys that are going on TV and telling the truth, which is good, but very few. There was an interesting thing with the Russian military bloggers where the Kremlin decided it would be a smart idea to put bloggers in with who blog about the military in with the troops, in with the Russian troops. And they're there. One of these guys has got like a couple million, it said several million followers on Telegram. And this guy is livid about how poorly the war is going. He thinks the Russians are basically losing it. Like he's blaming the Russians for how badly it's going. And he's telling his Telegram followers this. And I don't know. I mean, I still wonder whether Putin is hoping to use maybe Putin's hoping to use all of this to basically kill all the top military leaders and replace them. I don't know what he's doing, but stuff like that means people are finding out how things are going, just looking here to see Swinland. Swinland, you heard it here first for Sweden and Finland. Just looking here. No hate crimes. Okay, see, no hate crime law in Ukraine. See? Smarty pants people. There is a hate crimes law in Britain. Just looking here to see what else people are saying. See, it wasn't a stupid question. There are never stupid questions, I always tell people. I mean, there are stupid questions, but very rarely. No, and fair point, Leon. Yes, Russia has been, we know in the last couple of days, Russia has been targeting, I don't know if they were going after nitric acid filled tanks in the last couple of days, Syndicate. Is that what you're referring to? Because they were going after some kind of ammonium tanks, I think. Was that not it? Or is this the same thing they were going after? But I know the Russians have been blowing up basically tanks that the farmers were using, I'm assuming, to create fertilizer or to use as fertilizer, but causing, of course, horrible environmental disaster, but at the same time, making it harder for the Ukrainians to feed themselves and feed the world. So it's an added benefit from the Russian perspective. They get to cause environmental disasters there, but also hurt hurt food around the world. So then the rest of the world, they go, oh gosh, sorry. We told you. Yep. Thank you, Tyson Ann. Oh, good to see you. Actually, Tyson Ann, you are another regular who I'm going to make a moderator. You don't have to be. I mean, you are, but I've seen you regularly enough that if you're a Russian who's supported me a lot. So thank you. But I'm just trying to make sort of some of the regulars I see moderators, just in case you see anything, people are swarming, you see a bad guy. And, obviously you use your power judiciously, but we pretty much want folks just to moderate the obvious bad guys, who are just here to be horrific disruptors. Somebody disagreeing, I don't care about that really, but somebody who's just here to be evil. Ammonium's pretty bad. Yeah, that's what I thought I was saying. Oh, interesting. So Stacy Morgan says Zena Solo, who is a big TikToker from Ukraine, says they could tell in her grandmother's voice that something had changed. Her grandmother lives in Russia. They think something is being reported. I don't know what you mean by that last sentence, Stacy. They think something is being reported. Meaning Zena Solo's family thinks some of the news is getting through in Russia, is what you mean. Okay. I was kidding, Tyson Ann. I was kidding. I didn't think you were Russian. Oh, that's funny. I don't mind you jumping around. You feel that you are free to use. Putin has died. Yeah, that would be a story. That would be a story, wouldn't it? But let me look for another question on TikTok here. We got another 15 minutes, guys. The news was kind of short today. It wasn't. I'm almost getting a little. Actually, before I jump into this, I'm almost getting a little worried about this because there wasn't as much news today to even report to you all, and it's worrying me a little bit. Thank you, Cammie. Again, much cooler on the big screen with my iPad. That was like nice on my phone, but seeing it on the iPad was like a whole other world, which is kind of fascinating to me. 1 second here. Cammie. Sorry, just looking here really quick. What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying. Thank you, Flower Lady, for that. I was trying to say something, and I've totally gotten confused. Oh, well, I become my mother. That's okay. Thank you for the hanging lights, too. Let me just pull you up another Q&A here. Turkey can certainly, Sir Lionheart asks, can Turkey stop Finland and Sweden from joining NATO? Yes. It takes, thank you, Darian, for that. It takes a unanimous vote for of NATO members for a new member to join. And the idea is that every parliament has to vote and say yes. And the reason is because, there's a question I missed. I'll get to it next. The reason is, thank you for that. I saw that, that you're going to have to, thank you. Idertrio? I'm not sure. Every country is going to have to defend every other country. So if a new country comes in and war starts and they get attacked, everyone's going to have to defend them. So everyone gets to vote on whether they want to have to defend them. So if somebody's coming in and one country says, there's no way, I'm not going to want to defend them, they vote no, and the country doesn't get in. So that's why Turkey has been causing so much trouble, or has been able to cause so much trouble now, because they get to veto. If the Turkish parliament doesn't vote yes, then it doesn't happen. But a lot of people think that Turkey is the Turkish president Erdogan is doing this, just to get. He wants something. He wants to get something from NATO in return, and then he's going to let them in. Okay, Google, raise the temperature 1 degree. I did not hear Google speak. Thank you for that. I've got to make sure now that it did that. Usually it speaks behind me, and it didn't speak behind me this time. Sorry, 1 second, folks. I will say it's like the joy. Okay, yeah, the joy of having having the thermostat be part of my Wi-Fi is amazing. It absolutely blows my mind. At first I was thinking it was like, meh, but now I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, thanks, Nick. That's very pretty. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Harvey's like question crazy now that he's figured out a way to break through the Dutch firewall or whatever it is he's dealing with. I know Google's ignoring me. Russia seems to have gotten on China's bad side after apparently accidentally crushing a crate of, oh boy, Harvey's doing this to me on purpose. I'm going to say, is it Qing Dynasty? Somebody tell me how to pronounce that. Q-U-I-N-G. I think Harvey's testing me with that name, to be honest. Qing Dynasty? I don't know. Vases or vases worth over 25 million while in transit in Vladivostok? No way. There would be displayed in Xi Jinping's presidential residence. Oh, my. Oh, the lights aren't on. That's true. Okay, Google, turn on the living room lights. There you go. Google is quiet but present. For some reason, we can't hear it. But yes, you're right. I do like my little, I need my my lights there. You know, I'm turning off the fan too. My God, I'm cold. I don't know why I'm cold today. All right. That's funny, Harvey. I'd not heard that. I hope it's true. King? Oh, you say King? Oh, that's funny. King Dynasty, Q-U-I-N-G. That's funny. Is it magic? Like magic. Well, actually, right. See, YouTubers, you don't get to quite see the whole thing's lit up. It's really quite. It has much nicer effect on TikTok. But it's a cool light. Oh, Tyson Ann, let me ask her. You know what? I'm going to write to Mary and ask her, who did the shirts for me, whether folks can order the shirts. I will definitely write her afterwards. Oops. And I'm now trying to write this in a language I can read. I wrote it with my hand. My handwriting is so bad. Yes, I will absolutely. That's neat. I will write her and ask her, because I told you it's nice because it's actually it's not stitching. It feels like stitching, but it's a pattern that's put on the shirt, but it ironed on or heated on or whatever. But she got a really nice stitch that makes it feel embroidered. It's really neat. Oh, what is this, Annette? Our minister was appointed to General Secretary of NATO, but had to fulfill Turkish demands first. Now, thank you, Christy. Annette, remind me, where are you from again? I'm not remembering. What country are you in? I will wait for you to chime in, but just out of curiosity. King Dynasty. Okay. All right. I changed your temperature too, Kyle. Did I really? No way. That's actually very funny. That's very funny. And now Sasha wants to play. I would say like a patch. Yeah, it was like a patch that's applied by heat, but it looks like it's embroidered. And I asked her about it. And Denmark. Okay, I got you, Ned. I asked her about it, and she goes, "Yeah, it's intended to look like it's sewn on, but it's not. And it's got a texture. It's really beautiful, very pretty." Lucy is asking on TikTok. Oh, I'm sorry, and I did have a question that Syndicate pulled up that I forgot as well. Sorry, let me, you know what? I've got these saved. Let me do Syndicates first of Alyssa's that I forgot, and then I will get the Lucy one. Alyssa Havrinis. I'm gonna guess not Greek by the name Alyssa, but I don't know. Havrinis. I would say it's Greek, but who knows? There were Russian nuclear-capable missiles seen moving on Finnish borders. I read that today. Yeah, thank you for the hat. I did see that on TikTok. Thank you. Who is it? Jay Relip. Appreciate that. Yes, I saw the news today, or at least I saw news that allegedly the Russians were moving nuclear with the Iskander or whatever. Iskander, I think. I'm trying to prove I did read the article, saying they were moving nuclear missiles towards Finland. But I really do. I feel like, who cares? I mean, yeah, you should care. They're nuclear missiles, but I really don't care. I just don't care anymore. Iskander. There you go. Is it Iksander? Iksander? I'm thinking Iskander. Iksander. I just don't care anymore. It's one more threat from these bozos, And in the end, what are they going to do? They're not going to go to war, Yes, I read through. Was it about Ming vases? I read through Harvey's thing. I didn't see Ming vases. Hold on. Was there another thing about Ming vases? 1 second. But yeah, I just don't care anymore about them threatening this stuff. I feel like it's just all BS, It's just all, they're just this, it's like, rah, 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 rah. We have nuclear weapons. Rah, rah, rah. You know, I swear to God, if that country didn't have nuclear weapons, it would be like the biggest backwater. John McCain, famous Republican politician here in America, once called Russia a gas station with nukes, which I think was quite appropriate. I did do Harvey's question. So Harvey's comment about the king vases. I think that's what you guys were talking about. Let me know. Let me just see here. Yep, I've got that from Nathan. Let me first pull up Alyssa's then. Sorry. So I just don't care. I mean, I care, Alyssa. Of course I care. But it's just more BS from them, you know? As long as Finland is protected by NATO, and currently Finland is already protected by the other countries, not to mention Russia nukes Finland, and it's going to be World War III anyway if they use nuclear weapons. So, yeah, it's all Russia has left, because it's just that is all they have left. I pissed off some Russian bloggers. The Russian TikTokers are not happy with me, apparently. I know some of you tried to bring that up yesterday, but I'm not going to respond to that woman. My favorite line was, they're upset because I don't reach out to real Russians in Russia to find out the truth of what's going on in Russia. And I'm like, really? Have you met your country? I got news for you, sister. Anybody who can tell you the truth in Russia right now is looking at a very small prison cell like that colonel or like that Russian military blogger. But there is nobody on TikTok who's criticizing Russia who whatever. I don't want to cast aspersions, but I've been to Russia. I've been to the Soviet Union. You don't mess around in that country. You do not mess around in that country. And when you're on a medium like TikTok or somewhere else, and you are talking about how bad everything is in Russia and criticizing the government and criticizing the war, there's only two ways you're getting away with it. They haven't gotten yet to throwing you in jail, or you're working for them. And the first is very unlikely, but I'm letting it go because I'm speaking hypothetically, of course, nobody in particular, but yes. But I love the whole idea of, I should talk to Russians in Russia on TikTok and get their opinion of what's really going on in a dictatorship where no one is allowed free speech and all the independent media has been shut down and run out of the country. But somehow all these kids are on TikTok telling the truth. Okay, I'll stop now. You can see where I am on this issue. Lucy is asking on TikTok. Lucy, I'm sorry if I missed it. Lucy is asking on TikTok, and I know you can't see them all. This is true, but she's wondering your thoughts on the announcement by Russian media that they plan to demolish the Azovstal plant. That's weird. I don't know. That's very weird. Yeah. I mean, you know what this makes me think of? This is making me think of what they're doing with the theater. Remember the theater that the Russians bombed in Mariupol? First of all, this is all Mariupol, right? The Azovstal steel plant's Mariupol as well. Thank you, Grandma. But when they bombed that theater that had the word children written on the outside of it, now they're excavating and doing something, digging up the whole area. I wonder if they're just getting rid of it, like the Azovstal. I kind of wonder, basically, I wonder if they're not going to these areas and trying to get rid of the evidence of some kind. But why would you want to get rid of the steel plant? First of all, you know why they'd want to get rid of the steel plant? They're going to want to put some freedom, friendship, world peace park with a big statue of Lenin in it. And, Lenin defeating the Yazidis or some BS like that. That may be why they're doing it. It's going to be something really screwed up. That's all I can imagine. So who knows? But anyway, yes. So Lucy, there you go. It's not good. I did not see that, but it ain't good news. That's for sure. How are we doing? A couple more minutes. It is bad that Mariupol fell under Russian control. The city is very important in terms of apparently, I believe, roadways, but also trains and everything else. It was an important transportation hub, so that the fact that the Russians have it is strategically significant for them and helpful for them. So yes, it does help, unfortunately, which is part of the reason, well, not part of the reason, it's why Russia was willing to just blow the heck out of the place, you know? Tyson Ann, you can just email me at mylastname@gmail if you want. And thank you. I did see the lights. Let me see. It's going to tell me who put the lights up. Come on. Usually it tells me here. Oh, they're hanging lights. There we go. Borderline. Thank you, Borderline. I appreciate that. See, this is nice that I've got the larger iPad that a friend of mine pitched in to get me an iPad. And I can actually see your names on TikTok now, which has been very nice. So it's not just like I can see the GIFs bigger, which is cool, but also I see your names, which is kind of exciting. What else, guys? You're very welcome. Thank you, Lucy. It always makes me laugh, that thing. It is. That hat and mustache is pretty freaking funny. What else we got going on, guys? Were there any other questions thrown at me on any other questions on YouTube? Otherwise, I will, or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. Otherwise, I will. Oh, let me make sure I didn't miss one. No, I got Lucy's. Yep. I can look here and see. Where is this? Boom. Q&A. Oh, well, what was that? Oh, that's, sorry. Checking out what Alicia's doing. That was kind of cool. Thank you. That was very cool. I hope Ukraine gets Mariupol back. It's, you know, the problem is, as we were saying at the top of the show, Russia's really digging in on a lot of, digging in physically digging in and setting up barriers. And they're trying to, make it very difficult for Ukrainians to eventually win these lands back. And this is why something like a peacefire is such a bad idea. You know, NATO, US proposed it. The Germans, the French, the Italians, everyone's talking about a peacefire. And this is why a peacefire is so dangerous, because it gives the Russians time to dig in and make it much harder for the Ukrainians to finally attack. Linda Khan. And more seashells. 1 second. Look at the seeds from Grandma. Thank you. Thank you for that. What do you think about the status of Kherson? I mean, in what sense? I mean, Kherson is a town. Julia Cognome. Julia, ciao. From Facebook. Nice to see you. Well, Kherson is a town and a region. I think it's an oblast as well. In north of Crimea. Crimea is that territory of Ukraine in the south that the Russians stole back in 2014. Still part of Ukraine, though. And Kherson is right north of it. And it's one of the first places, if not the first place, that the Russians are talking about annexing and making, part of Russia. And they're certainly digging in, sorry, I'm changing my light as I talk to you now, digging in as they can there. Thank you for the origami. I mean, I guess what are you asking me in terms of the status is what I'm not entirely sure about. You know what I mean? Like, what's the, hang on, and I'm of course adjusting something as I talk to you too. You don't have to pay more though. You could just even write what you mean, but what about the status? I mean, I'm worried the same thing I was saying earlier, that Russia's going to dig in and it's going to be really scary because once they dig in, it's going to be very hard possibly for Ukraine to get it back. But Ukraine's going to have to get it back. But, yeah, it worries me. And clearly the Russians are going to annex it and do what they can, But, yeah, like Mike said, Kherson is told to get part of the Russian family. Yep. Just looking at a few more comments else you guys says. See what else is going on here. Keychains made out of Russian jet fighters. I'm telling you, somebody in Ukraine has got to get me something cool. I want one of these things. I want something cool I don't want to be crass about it because they've got other things to worry about than getting me something cool from the war. So I haven't asked, but Ukraine will take back Mariupol this summer. God, who knows? I mean, the thing is, I think we're reaching Russia's reached the point now where it doesn't seem like they can go further. So, which is why I think, you're seeing Russia fail in the east to go further, and they're trying, but you're also seeing them dig in everywhere else really hard because they realize they're heading for a period now where maybe Russia's going to just try to claim the land it's got as being part of Russia and just try to hold on to it with dear life and hope the Ukrainians aren't able to really hit them well. Let's see if they can get away with that. I mean, the problem is, Ukraine's having to bomb its own cities to get them back, which isn't easy, although that's been happening anyway. I mean, they've been fighting that in the east too. But, it's possible. I mean, the problem is I don't know well enough Mariupol versus other cities, like Mariupol versus Kherson versus, some other cities as far as what's more difficult or easier for them to perhaps take on. Which one has better defenses, which one's located. I don't know. And also, the big question for the Ukrainians is going to be strategically. Oh, that is kind of cool. They're like, but they're not total. They're like butterflies, but they're like butterfly fairies. I think that was what makes sense for the Ukrainians to take over first strategically. That's going to be a big question too. It's not just Mariupol is so important, thematically that they want to get it, but does it make more sense for them to start in the northeast and work their way down? Does it make more sense for them to start at Kherson in the west and work their way over? Who knows? I'm going to guess maybe they're going to come down from the north, but I mean, who knows? That's just me guessing. Can Mama Kendra, can Ukrainians bomb Mariupol while Russians rebuild? Sure, why not? Will we continue to send weapons for that? Sure, absolutely. It's under Russian occupation. The war. And by the way, this was a question that came up before from you guys, but also people saying online. Russia, good evening, user, blah, blah, blah. Russia can declare victory anytime it wants. Ukraine's going to still keep fighting. They've still got their drones that are going to come in and drop bombs. They've still got their very accurate new long distance artillery from NATO and other NATO, but from the US and other NATO countries. Russia, the war won't stop just because Putin says the war stops. Thank you, PS Pam Pam, for that. Let's say the Russians stop fighting and say, okay, this is all our land. Ukraine goes, okay, great. We're just going to keep bombing you. And then the Russians have got to keep bombing the Ukrainians. So I don't think it stops. No, absolutely. The Russians can't just declare it's over. We stole 15% of the country and the rest of us are going to go, that's okay. No, Ukraine's going to keep fighting and we're going to keep giving them weapons to fight it. It's going to be just like the Soviets in Afghanistan. These guys want to get their land back. We're going to keep giving them weapons. No, I think I see zero. And the U.S. will do it alone if we have to, I think. But I see zero possibility of people just stop helping because Russia says, okay, it's our land now. I don't see it. I think it's 100,000 Ukrainians left in Mariupol still, which is really scary. Really scary. All right, guys. I am going to thank you, Grandma, for the hat. I'm going to call it quits on this because we've been doing this for an hour and 20. Did I miss? Nope, I didn't miss that. Let's hang another 10 minutes as we always do. I think the U.S. will continue to help. We better continue to help. Again, it's good that we've got things such as Mitch McConnell, who's the Republican Senate leader, going out and meeting with Zelensky. That was hugely important because it also showed that no matter what happens in the fall, let's say the Democrats do lose control of the Senate to the Republicans in November, it shows Mitch McConnell running the Senate is going to still be in favor of supporting Ukraine. That's hugely important. He is not, but he's the Republican leader. Yeah, he's the Republican Senate leader. And he could be the Senate leader in the fall if he wins. Did I call him Senate leader? Sorry, I'm tired. And thank you for that. See, this is what happens when I talk for an hour and 20 minutes. Now we get into now we hang out and talk casually for 10 minutes. So what else is on people's minds? This is the last part of our show where we try to just hang. Mitch McConnell's being very supportive of Ukraine, very much so. Yes. Moscow Mitch. Yep. Very supportive. So Mom is good. I've actually got to call Mom. I haven't talked to her since I got back, so I owe her a call. I'm actually kind of surprised she's not trying to call during this, although I don't think the phone would ring because since now I've got my phone here, but I don't think the phone would ring on my iPad. I've got my iPad set to away anyway. So yes, Mom will no longer be freezing our broadcast. Harvey asks, did you see the BBC interview with I don't know whose flag that is. I'm going to guess Finland because it's on the Russian border. Who else would it be? Finnish soldier on the Russian border. There was nothing about Dr. Oz yet an hour ago. The election's too close to call and quite possibly heading towards a recount. There was something wrong with a couple thousand ballots too that they had to read them manually. Ha ha ha. That always ends up being fun. Okay, Norwegian soldier on the Russian border who was so a Norwegian soldier on the Russian border who was asked what would happen if Russia attacked. He just replied, "Let them try. We effed them up." It was live, so didn't have time to censor. Oh, let them try. We'd f them up. We'd F them up. That's funny. They probably would. They probably would. They did it last time. You know? I mean, what? It took the Russians 3 years last time, and the Norwegians killed, at least the Norwegians were saying, is it really true? Finnish border, not Norwegian, Finnish. I know. I'm tired, guys. I know it's Finland because it's the border there. Yeah. The Finnish border. Is it true that the Finns killed 200,000 Russian troops in World War II? Not World War II, but when the Russians attacked them? Is that the truth? I mean, was it 200,000? Because that was sort of the comment that somebody had made about 200,000 Russian troops were sort of buried in the ice. But I couldn't believe it was that many. I mean, I believe it, but it just kind of blew my mind. That many? Dear God. Wow. 200,000. My God, Nicolina, that's amazing. Wow. Well, somebody else is saying 500,000. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Oh, I see. Including wounded, the figure's 500,000. I see. Okay. Thanks, Crazy Cat. Interesting. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Then that's, well, because I told you, somebody was asked about this and said, somebody in the Finnish government or whatever was asked when the Russians threatened, and they said, feel free to try, and you can join the 200,000. No, feel free to come over and join the 200,000 of the rest of your citizens that are permanently living under our border, or something like that. It was this quote that was like, "Rear." Hang on a sec. Let me see here. 15,000 Finnish soldiers died. 200,000 Russians. That is insane. That is absolutely insane, that difference. I mean, I knew the Finns did a good job, but my God. I want to see. Hold on. Finland, Russia. I'm not going to find the quote, though. Oh, here's the quote. I found it. Okay, hang on. So it was a Finnish general. It was apparently a Finnish general responding to Putin's threats to Finland if they join NATO. And he said, "You are most welcome here to join the 200,000 Russians that are already in Finland, buried a few meters in the ground after your last attempt in 1939. I mean, it was like, I read it, I was like, oh my God. These Finns are like, bam. I mean, what a quote after your last attempt. Woo. So yeah, that was pretty wild. Pretty wild. Don't fuck with the Nordics. Well, I told you, my NATO friend told me that the Norwegians, for example, amazing with their, again, sort of their winter fighting skills or whatever. Obviously, the Finns are going to be the same. We weren't even talking about the Finns at this point. The Finns are going to be the same, I would imagine. The Swedes, I want to say, have a lot of weaponry or something. Did you see the tour of the underground bunker in Finland? It's awesome. No, underground bunker for what, Stacy? Underground bunker for what? Yeah, it was very good what the generals did. What else? Oh. They trained their soldiers to shoot while skiing. That's so insane. My God. I'm assuming that's Norway and Finland. My God. Actually, the Sweden too. I would say Sweden, I heard, has got Sweden's military itself is apparently for Air Force. Is that it? Okay. Somebody's saying on TikTok, Sweden has a great Air Force. Interesting. Okay. Oh, interesting. A bunker system. I've seen the pictures of them in the white camouflage on skis, but the Finns, I think. Yeah. The bunkers can hold 900,000 people. My God. You saw James Bond. That's cute. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Finland has whole cities underground. I did not know this. No, I've not seen it. I'll have to look this up. I did not know about this. Wow. Yeah. No, the Russian, I mean, this was such a huge mistake for Putin. I mean, it really, one bunker can hold 900,000 people. Jesus Christ. Just such a huge mistake that Putin did this. Really amazing. You know? I mean, and again, hopefully the Turks won't screw it up. But man, they use the bunker for sport and recreation, but can be converted to bunkers for thousands. Jeez. Oh my God. See, I'm finally yawning. I was being pretty good. It's been a bad sleep week. So yeah, so I've decided to, oh, actually, I didn't do my summary of the news. Do you guys want my summary again or not? The recap? I always forget that. Only because some people I know. Hello from Sweden. We've just been singing your praises as hopeful new NATO members, we hope. About your, yeah? All right, I'll do a quick recap. Just sort of the headlines of what we went over. So, Azovstal, there looks like the plant was evacuated, the steel plant, but the leaders are still there. Very unclear what the Russians are going to do with the people they got their hands on now. The Russians are continuing to shell in eastern Ukraine, but they're doing it very haphazardly, and it's not part of any kind of larger strategy, so they are not advancing. They're bombing, but they're not advancing. The Russians are digging in along a stretch of land going from Luhansk in the east all the way down to Kherson in the south, more or less. And all of that area, they're now digging in. And it seems to be sort of the next phase of the war, very likely, is the Russians realizing they can't advance any further and trying to just defend the hell out of the land they've got, but building bunkers, building, all sorts of things that could make it very hard for the Ukrainians to take it back. Turkey blocked an effort to fast track Finland and Sweden's NATO application. The U.S. Treasury Secretary said that it would be illegal for the U.S. to seize Russian assets and use them for Ukraine. I explained in detail why that's the case. 21-year-old Russian soldier pled guilty to killing an unarmed 62-year-old Ukrainian civilian riding a bike. His trial is continuing tomorrow. Gerhard Schroeder, the Chancellor of Germany going back a couple decades, I believe, was stripped of his 400,000 euro a year office because he's given money for an office and all this kind of stuff because everyone's mad at him for refusing to criticize Putin. Good night, Annette. And the Ukrainian Territorial Defense Forces are sneaking into bombed neighborhoods in really, really, really bad areas where people have had to just abandon their pets because the bombing was so bad. They're sneaking in every single day and bringing foods for the abandoned pets, which I thought was absolutely adorable. And just made me say, oh, those Ukrainians. Apparently the Ukrainians are famous for their love of their pets, which is really neat. So very cool. Russian state TV on CNN right now. Yeah, they've been showing that clip. That clip's been around for a few days, actually. I saw it a couple days ago, but it's like a 4.5 minute clip or whatever. Mosaic, you're late. Hi, Poland. Welcome. We love you. You've been doing good work. So what we are doing is I have made an executive decision that I'm going to stick with the time that we've been doing the last 4 weeks. It's worked well enough. We've had enough people be able to come. And rather than constantly change the time, especially with TikTok playing games, and even YouTube isn't notifying everybody, I think it's better just to keep the times the same. So for now, we're sticking with weekday, Monday to Friday is going to be 6 p.m. Eastern, midnight Paris. Boom. And the weekend is going to be 2 p.m. Eastern, which would be 8 p.m. Paris. So for now, that makes sense. We're going to stick. And who knows, the weekend, maybe I'll move the weekend back a little, an hour as time goes on, we can see. But otherwise, you're a Finn who lives in Sweden. We love both of you. Even better. But otherwise, I think I'd rather keep this time now because it lets a few more Europeans come. The Americans still seem to be doing pretty well. But don't get funny, Harvey. You're only allowed to get funny if you pay for it, Harvey. But yes. So every weeknight, I'm going to be doing 6 p.m. Eastern, midnight Paris. So 6 p.m. New York City time, midnight Paris. And that's what we'll do tomorrow as well. All right, guys, it's 7:33. I'm going to sign off. This was lovely as always. I know it's hard though. It's hard because it's the different time for different people thing, you know? And my big fear is going back and forth. It's just gonna confuse people if I keep going back and forth every week. So I had to make this decision. Sorry, guys. Hey, Christy, thank you for that. Movement of the 101st. I don't know what that's asking me about. And thank you for the May thing. All right, guys. Then yes, I'm going to say goodbye. TikTok, as soon as I see the bye-bye things from you, then I know that the delay in TikTok has caught up and you know I'm saying goodbye. And YouTube, thank you guys as well. As always, you can double check what time we're doing this in TikTok in the profile. You will see, I'm going to set it up right now. You'll see the next live in my profile on TikTok. You'll literally see a link that tells you, thank you, Melissa. That was sweet of you. You'll see a link that literally tells you when the next live is. And on YouTube, it's pretty easy. Just go to my YouTube homepage and you'll see the live right there. So that should work fine. All right, guys. Okay, TikTok, live long. Yes, yes, TikTok. Goodbye, TikTok. Somebody said live long and prosper. That was very cute. Okay, and YouTube as well. Thanks, guys. I will see you mañana.